What's up, YouTube? It's your boy, Mikey Hot Takes, serving up hot takes like they're hot cakes, and I had to break out the equipment today, stop what I was doing, get off of my hiatus, because the Knicks have made a big trade, all right? If you haven't heard, if you've been under a rock, you're here for a reason, all right? You already know the deal. The Knicks have acquired OG Anunoby from the Toronto Raptors. In addition to, they've also acquired Precious Achiuwa and Malachi Flynn, two solid role players to fill out the bench, at the expense of RJ Barrett and Immanuel Quickley and a future Detroit Pistons second-round pick. So I know there's a lot of mixed emotions going on right now. I'm reading my timeline. I see this, I see that. I see outrage in both directions. I see people that are super excited. I see people that are super pissed off. We're going to break it down right now, okay? I think the New York Knicks got better today. It's simple and plain. The New York Knicks got better today. Are they better long-term? Do we feel better about the team right away? Not this second, and I'll tell you why. Because we've seen Immanuel Quickley. We've seen RJ Barrett every single night. All right? For OG Anunoby, we watch him when he plays the Knicks. We watch the box score. It doesn't tell the whole story, okay? He's like the third or fourth option in Toronto, just like he'll be for the Knicks. The difference is this guy can make wide-open threes and defend the other team's best player. And if the Knicks were going to take themselves seriously in the playoffs this year, they had to acquire that type of guy. Because Randall isn't that guy. Hart is a little bit undersized for the elite wings in the league. We've seen that in some of these games recently. He tries hard, but he's just not big enough to guard some of these elite wings. And the elephant in the room, Immanuel Quickley, is the guy that we're all that stings. We miss him. We loved him. One of the greatest Knicks draft picks to my memory. Okay, simple and plain. You drafted him late first round. Nobody expected anything out of this guy out of Kentucky. Even though he was the SEC Player of the Year, nobody expected anything out of him. He's handled himself with the utmost class. He's been an excellent New York Knick, one of the best bench players in the Knicks in the league the last 2 years. But you have to give to get in this league. And the fact of the matter is the Knicks' best player is Jalen Brunson. And Immanuel Quickley and Jalen Brunson in the playoffs, I don't care what nerd tells me the stats are good with them on the court. There's a reason there's not a huge sample size. And if you're telling me you know how to coach basketball better than Tom Thibodeau and how to deal with matchups better than Tom Thibodeau, you're lying to yourself and you're a clown. Tom Thibodeau looked at his team, said, I love IQ. IQ played a ton last year and the year before that, before we got Jalen Brunson. He played plenty. All right, and this year we're seeing with the size that we have, it's not big enough. We lost Toppin, okay, maybe we don't respect him as a big man, but he does have enough size to guard some of the bigger players on the wing. And we lost that. Now we have OG Anunoby, and I think this is a great addition. I think this is one of the piece the Knicks have been missing. I've been throwing this guy's name out there for a couple years. He just fits like a glove on this roster. He just does. He doesn't need the ball to be successful. He'll stand in the corner and make open threes. When OG's open, you're going to expect him to make the three. That's the complete opposite of what we've been dealing with RJ Barrett. The complete opposite. All right, now people have been pointing out Knicks bench now is weak. The bench looks a little weak. They did acquire Precious Achiuwa, which I think is a huge piece of this deal. Whatever trade the Knicks were going to make, they needed to try to find a serviceable backup big man that could put Taj Gibson out of his misery and stop making him play minutes in the NBA in 2023. So now we won't see Taj Gibson play after this trade because Precious should take his minutes easily. And Precious Achiuwa, young player, still on the younger side, has the size that we've been looking for, and he can stretch the floor a little bit. He can make an outside shot. I have looked at the numbers. He's not an elite shooter. I wouldn't call him, like a stretch five that you want shooting the ball all the time, but he can make an open three. So he adds some dimension to your roster that way. I don't get the outrage. The outrage comes from sentimental value. And this is why the Knicks have not been good for years, because of our fan base reacting to trades like this the way they have. Okay? It's the same reason the Mets stink. It's the same reason the Jets stink. Same reason we idolize some of these players. But if we really want to be great and win titles, you have to give to get. Immanuel Quickley is a very, very good NBA player. There's no doubt in my mind he will be great for the Toronto Raptors. But does he service this New York Knicks team better than OG Anunoby at this point in time? Absolutely not. Another factor, RJ Barrett, if you've watched him recently, the guy has no confidence, needs a change of scenery, and oh, by the way, he's on a big contract. The Knicks extended RJ Barrett recently, and if he doesn't, on this trajectory, it would have been a lot worse to get rid of RJ Barrett. So you get rid of RJ Barrett before it gets worse, because in my opinion, the guy's lost right now. He's a lost soul. He hasn't figured out his finesse game. He hasn't figured out his handle. He looks slow on defense, all this stuff, mental lapses in year 4 or 5. So I was ready to move on from RJ Barrett for the last 2 weeks. I'm happy we did that. At the expense of IQ, it sucks. But when you look at the roster construction, down the stretch of big games, there is no way that Tom Thibodeau is going to trust the defense with Brunson and IQ on the floor. You just can't. You can't switch. You cannot switch on defense when you have Brunson, IQ, and the big man. You just can't switch. And that's how all the great teams in the NBA do it. That's how they play defense in the playoffs. You have to be able to switch 1 through 4 at the very least, if not 1 through 5. All right, so the Knicks got better defensively. They got better shooting-wise today because they've added 2 shooters. Okay, Quickley is a loss. I understand that. There's going to have to be another trade to fill out this bench. And I think Jordan Clarkson is the guy. I think you trade. No first-round picks given up by the Knicks in this deal. They only gave up a second-round pick. So they still have all these first-rounders. They're going to go out. They're going to go get another bench piece. And I think Jordan Clarkson out of Utah is the perfect fit. You trade Evan Fournier's expiring. Maybe you throw in Jericho Sims or somebody like that to sweeten the pot for Utah. And you give up a couple of first-round picks. Maybe one protected. The protections, I'm not getting into the protections, but you know what I mean. Trade a protected first-round pick and Jericho Sims and Evan Fournier's expiring contract for Jordan Clarkson. Suddenly you have one of the best 6 men in the league again in Jordan Clarkson. He's been that in his career many, many times. So I love this trade for the Knicks. I know it hurts inside when you look at IQ and how lovable of a player he is. If you really look at it this way, if you really love IQ and you really love the player and the guy and the human, then you should be happy he's in Toronto as well. Now he gets to excel. He gets his own team. He gets a chance to show what he can do. And I know you're going to say, why didn't Tibbs try that with the Knicks? Trust me. If we didn't have Jalen Brunson, IQ would be running the show. But do you really, look at what Jalen Brunson is to this team. Do you really want to sit around waiting for IQ to develop into Jalen Brunson when you have Jalen Brunson sitting right here in his prime? Of course not. All right? IQ needed the minutes. He needed to change his scenery for the minutes and to progress his career. And the Knicks needed to get bigger. They needed to get size. They needed to get younger as well with their backup center position, getting Precious Achiuwa. And Malachi Flynn, I don't expect him to play a ton, but he might get some run in this team. He plays hard. He plays some defense. He can make some threes. As a backup point guard, for now, I don't see him being a big issue. Okay, so I do think another trade is coming for this team. Stop flipping out and stop overreacting. OG Anunoby is a very, very good fit for this team. Am I going to sit here and tell you he's the best? He's a superstar, and Mike, we need to trade for a superstar. I've been through this ad nauseum. There's only about 4 or 5 superstars in this league that you would actually want to empty the tank and get right now. There is. And those guys aren't going anywhere at the moment. So you know what? This is the type of trade that you make if you want to take yourself seriously in the playoffs for this year and next year. You have an elite wing defender, somebody you could throw at the Jason Tatums of the world. You could put him on Giannis a couple of times. He might not, hold his own, but he's at least big and can move. And you need those type of guys. RJ Barrett, Josh Hart, DiVincenzo, Grimes, they can all only guard the same position. 2 and 3s and not the same type of 3s. They can't switch onto 4s like that. So we needed to get bigger. The starting lineup now, I'm assuming will be, just turnkey, Brunson, DiVincenzo, Anunoby, Randall, and Hartenstein until Mitchell Robinson comes back next year. But when you look at this team defense next season, Mitchell Robinson comes back. You have Randall, Anunoby, and who knows who you could put at that 2-guard position. I like DiVincenzo. I don't know if I want him, being the everyday 2-guard, but he's shooting the ball really well. He plays with pace. I like the way this Knicks team looks. And again, let's not understate getting Taj Gibson off the floor immediately. Those Taj Gibson minutes recently, if we had to go another week or 2 with Taj Gibson playing minutes as the backup center, we're in big trouble. And respect to Taj, always have loved Taj, but he's past his prime. He looks like me in pickup in a couple of weeks, just getting to the 3-point line and back. He's not going beyond the 3-point line. So that's it. That's all I got to say. Everyone take a deep breath. We love Immanuel Quickley. There's no doubt about it. There's no shade towards Immanuel Quickley, but you have to give to get in this league. And if you look at the roster construction of this Knicks team, we might as well have canceled the season if we didn't do something about the wing position immediately, because it really is a problem. We don't have the size. and the backup center position. If we didn't fix the backup center and the wing position immediately with the way RJ Barrett has performed and with the way Taj Gibson looks as the backup center, we are just going to lose out against tough teams for the remainder of the season. Like, that's the way I was looking at it after last night. We just didn't have enough in terms of size to throw at guys, different defenders to throw at bigger, like Banchero and Wagner last night. You look at the game against the Magic, they were doing whatever they want because who are you throwing at them? Okay, Julius Randle on Banchero is a pretty seamless matchup. Not known for his defense, Julius, but, you know, he gives the other guy 40, he gives 30, fine. But then you can't have Franz Wagner, who's 6'10". Who are you throwing at Franz Wagner with the way the Knicks were constructed last night? They were putting Josh Hart on, just too small. RJ Barrett, too small. So we got bigger, we got better shooting-wise, we got younger. I'm a fan of this, maybe not younger, I get it, Barrett and IQ are still pretty young, but you know what I'm saying. Anunoby fits like a glove on this roster, and there's another move coming. Jordan Clarkson is coming, or that type of player. Another bench scorer needs to be acquired before the trade deadline. I think there's plenty of time to do that. Let's not freak out, Knicks fans. We love IQ, but let's use our brains instead of our hearts. We need to get better, and we got better today. All right? Had to do it. We're back with the short videos. It feels nice. I'm not going to promise short form videos anymore because if your boy doesn't feel the passion, he's not going to put something out. Today, we had to. The passion came out. I looked at the timeline, and it was time to record. So until next time, make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you hit like. Let's go Knicks, all right? We play the Pacers tonight. I'll be watching the game. I don't know who's going to be on the roster tonight to be able to fill it out, but we'll see. We'll see, and we'll enjoy. I think the Knicks got better. You should too. Until next time, peace.